Oh, foothill yellow-legged frogs in here. They could breed in here for sure if they wanted to. Hi everybody, I'm Liz López, Latino Outdoors, and I want to take y'all on a hike through the Stevens Trail in Colfax today. The Stevens Trail is located about an hour from Sacramento. You just take the I-80 east to the exit 135 and get off there and come to the trailhead. It's about 4.5 miles to the North Fork American River, out and back. We are currently standing on ancestral Nisenan lands. The Nisenan were stewards of this land long before European settlers came here, and although this hike is free, I would encourage you to support the Nisenan people by donating to the California Heritage Indigenous Research Project through the link in the video description. You guys ready to take this hike? Let's go. So we're in Colfax right now, which is Northern California, and it gets very hot here during the summer, during the times that we usually would like to hike. So I just want to point out the heat. There's exposed areas on this hike, and it's about 7.7 miles total. So you want to be really careful when you're planning out your hike. Start early in the morning and make sure you bring plenty of water. I would recommend at least 2 liters. And also make sure that you bring sunscreen and sun protection and probably a snack for the end of the trail. Also keep in mind that the trail is downhill, down into the canyon on the way in, and then it's uphill on the way out. So make sure that you have enough energy to make it back out. That means that you could stop and take a break and then turn back at any point that you want. There is consistent self-coverage throughout the canyon, at least that's what my experience has been. This year in 2021, I haven't been seeing so many ticks so far, but there definitely is tons of ticks out here, and you want to make sure that you're being careful when you're walking along the trails not to brush aside, because the ticks hang off of the vegetation with their little arms and they'll latch onto you. And then lastly, and very importantly, I want to talk a little bit about poison oak. Especially in the first segment of the trail, there's lots of poison oak on the sides, and so I want to do a quick little tutorial on how to tell apart poison oak from Himalayan blackberry. All right everyone, so this is poison oak. You could tell there's 2 plants that look really similar out here, the poison oak and the Himalayan blackberry, and I'm going to show you both. So poison oak, you could always tell that it has leaves of 3, and the leaves are lobed, meaning that they don't have sharp edges. The poison oak will also turn reddish toward the end of the summer, but never go by color because it looks different all the time, and it really depends on what area you're in. You'll also may notice that the poison oak has kind of shinier leaves sometimes, like this. And lastly, they're pretty smooth surfaces. Here's a good example of how poison oak can look different. So if you see, these leaves kind of had that reddish tinge to them that I was talking about earlier, and they're also really shiny, and it's like, it's pretty obvious. I think that this is what people typically think of when they think of poison oak. So on the other side of the trail, we have some Himalayan blackberry, and you could see that although it looks kind of similar, as in some of them have leaves of 3 like this or like this, it's really fuzzy. And the edges are serrated instead of lobed. So serrated means it's kind of like the edge of a knife, sharp. Also, the stems of the Himalayan blackberry have thorns on them. The Himalayan blackberry also doesn't turn red, but the main things to look for are the pointed edges, 3 to 5 leaves, and the fuzziness. Okay everyone, this is the next fork in the trail. As you can see here, it says Stevens Trail, bikes this way, and hikers this way. And since we're on a hike, we're gonna head up this way. Hi folks, so we're coming to the next split in the trail right now. When you're gonna come down a little gradient and some rocks, and if you take a left right here, that's a good way to get to the waterfall. You'll be right up against it, and then if we take a right, that will lead us back to the trail. So you might wanna go and check out the waterfall and then take a turn back and get back on the trail. I wanted to talk a little bit about stewardship on the trail. When you're out here enjoying these spaces, we want to make sure that we leave everything nicer than when we found it. And that includes not littering, and not only just trash like the plastics and the glass that we just found on the side of the trail right here, but also we want to make sure that we're not leaving the items that we think might be compostable. So, you know, don't leave shells, don't leave orange peels. Even though we think that these items break down, it actually takes quite a long time for them to do so. So just be a good steward of the land and do your part to keep the trails clean. Something that I like to do is get an old bread bag that you're not using anymore. Just save them for your hikes. And when you see things on the side of the trail, just go by and pick them up and pack them out with you. So when other people don't take care of the trail, we want to make sure that we're taking care of it ourselves. So we were hiking and we came across this lupin that I've never seen before. And since I'm not sure what the ID is, I think I'm going to use my iNaturalist app to figure out what it is. iNaturalist is a cool program that you download onto your phone. It's free and it really helps when you're trying to ID stuff in the field. So all you do is take a picture. Then we're going to, at the bottom of the app, click Observe. Go to your camera roll, add the photo, and then there's a button that says, what did you see? And it will suggest some IDs. And so it looks like what we have here is a harlequin lupin. So I'm going to share that on iNaturalist to make sure that other people can confirm my ID, and also so other people could see what I found in the area. So if we found a harlequin lupin, pretty cool. As we come to the end of our hike, I just wanted to point out one thing. We're at the North Fork American River right now, and this river is fed by snowpack from the so-called Sierra Nevadas and Cascades. And as we all know, we're coming into another drought year right now, which is brought on by climate change. So we're gonna see less water in California, less water in our rivers. That's because with climate change, the temperatures are getting hotter here in California, and at the same time we're having less precipitation. And you could really clearly see right here by this calcium deposit how far the water in the American River used to come up to in previous years, and we're just not at that right now. So there's a couple things that we could do at home. There are sustainable practices that also help conserve water as we enter into this drought time. Some examples are turning off the water between uses, using the dishwasher instead of hand washing your dishes. It's actually a little bit more water effective. And then finally, and very importantly, planting drought-tolerant native plants in your garden. So that's all I have to say about our current drought period, and I hope that you take some of those suggestions into consideration at home. All right, folks, that brings us to the end of our hike at the Stevens Trail. Thank you so much for coming along with us. We're going to head back down the trail now and back to the parking lot, but I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you join us again. Goodbye.